women ever.
Number 16.
Russian contortionist Julia Gunthel, who goes by the name of Zlata, always draws a crowd as she travels the world showing off her extreme flexibility and poses one would think impossible until they see her do them. The 5'9" human elastic started performing at just 14 years old and says she finds most poses very natural feeling, although she does admit keeping her body flexible enough for the poses requires training and that she usually trains about 2 hours a day.
Number 15.
I'm sure we've all heard of women wanting smaller thighs, but have you ever heard of a woman wanting massive thighs? Well, now you have! Miami model Natasha Antonosa spends 2 hours a day in the gym in order to achieve and maintain her unique physique. The 20-year-old has thighs measuring 26 inches in circumference, which is almost wider than her tiny waist. Natasha says her gym lifestyle started when she was 14 after the then overweight adolescent was dumped for being fat. Her fan base recently exploded after a photo shoot in which she is wearing a long black dress that has slits up both sides, showing off her impressive quad muscles. In the resulting photos, there is a striking resemblance between Natasha and the 90s Street Fighter character Chun-Li, causing the photos to go viral and the model's Instagram to grow to over 269,000 followers. Natasha says her fan base is now a combination of Street Fighter geeks and fitness freaks, and that by far the most common fan request is for me to crush their heads between my thighs. I need that head crush.
Number 14.
One would think that most people in their 70s would be looking forward to enjoying some relaxation in their retirement. However, all Daljinder Kaur and her 79-year-old husband wanted was to finally have a child of their own. At approximately age 72, Daljinder could very well be the world's oldest mother. Her exact age is unknown as she, like many in India, does not have a birth certificate, but she says she's in her 70s and her embryologist thinks she's about 72. After 46 years of marriage, being ridiculed for their infertility, and even having to take her husband's father to court in order to obtain some land to farm, land in India is not usually given to infertile couples, the couple celebrated the birth of their healthy and hearty son, who weighed 4.4 pounds.
Number 13.
In January of 2010, at 7 feet 8 inches, Yao Defen was confirmed by Guinness World Records as the world's tallest living woman. Sadly, a little over 2 years later, on November 13, 2012, at only 40 years old, Yao died at her parents' house. According to Medical Daily, Yao developed gigantism, a rare condition causing abnormal growth of children, mostly in height but also in girth, as a result of a tumor. Due to the condition, Yao stood at 6 foot 2 inches by age 11. Despite the removal of her tumor in 2006, Yao had numerous other health conditions, including hypertension, heart disease, osteoporosis, and a blood clot in her brain.
Number 12.
Ashley Kerpeel, a 32-year-old from Peachtree City, Georgia, is one of only 700 people worldwide who suffers from fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva, or Stone Man syndrome. The incurable condition is slowly turning her into a human statue as it turns her muscles, tendons, and ligaments into solid bone. When Ashley was just 2.5 years old, her parents were told she had cancer, and doctors amputated her right arm in an attempt to remove what they thought was a tumor. According to Ashley, 5 months later, doctors called and said the cancer was a misdiagnosis, and I actually had a rare disease that affects 1 in 2 million people. Having already claimed her right arm, the condition then took over her right leg after a car accident at age 25 expedited its progress, leaving her leg permanently stuck in a bent position. Ashley doesn't let the decreased limb function or her condition stop her from living life to its fullest. She goes on cruises with friends, surfs every year, and recently even learned to skateboard, stating, "I don't know how much longer I will have movement in my body, so I want to experience as much as I can."
Number 11.
Taking the phrase crazy cat lady to a whole new level, 67-year-old Linnea Latanzio actually welcomed so many cats into her house, 1,100 to be precise, that she actually had to move out of her 5-bedroom house and into a mobile home, leaving the house for her cats. The feline-friendly Linnea first started her cat collecting habits in 1992 when her father asked her to help him find a new cat, and she ended up coming home with 15 of them. Linnea advised reporters, "I've taken in and lived with 28,000 cats. That's probably a record. I'm guessing it is. In any case, it's over 9,000.
Number 10.
A notorious female bigamist, Emily Horne has used a number of aliases to get at least 7 men to marry her. Her apparently overwhelming desire to continuously get married might have something to do with her obsession with weddings, according to her father, Graham Horne. Graham reminisced to reporters that she once pestered him to buy her a wedding dress from a secondhand shop at the young age of 12, saying, "Daddy, look at that beautiful dress. Please buy it for me." Graham also believes the collapse of his marriage to Emily's mother might have played a part, as it sent her on a downward spiral, and he, quote, watched her descend into a streetwise urchin with an unnatural appetite for sex. Emily married her first husband, Paul Rigby, in 1996, but soon disappeared, leaving him chained to her forever, as his several attempts to find her to obtain a divorce have come up empty. At one point, Emily was living in one husband's house with another new husband, convincing them both that the other was just a friend. And you say he's just a friend?
Number 9.
It's bad enough experiencing one rare painful condition, but for Samara Rose Ingrafia, life is even harder as she suffers from 2 rare medical conditions that leave her housebound. The 25-year-old has erythromelalgia, or man on fire syndrome, which causes severe pain as it makes her skin feel like it's constantly burning, as well as an equally rare and painful health condition called Raynaud's disease, which causes her body to react drastically to the slightest drop in temperature. As a result, she can only be exposed to a temperature of 63 degrees Fahrenheit, as anything higher or lower causes pain and suffering. Samara is quoted as saying, "It's all-consuming and it's just maddening to be constantly burning alive. It's hell on earth." Samara's father, Brian, who's 53, also suffers from both conditions and is housebound with his daughter, leaving her 58-year-old mother, Ariella, as the sole financial supporter. Ariella works in California but spends 10 days of the month in Michigan taking care of the two of them, who are unable to use the oven on their own and are left to microwave all meals in Ariella's absence.
Number 8.
Dr. Dot, aka 48-year-old Dorothy Stein, is a massage therapist to the stars. What's unusual is her surprising massage technique of biting her patients. Stein advised reporters that she first started the biting massage technique at age 5 when her hippie mother wanted me to massage her, but my hands weren't strong enough, so she just kept saying, "Bite me." So I've been doing this my whole life. With an upbringing like that, is it any wonder that at the young age of 15, she started trading massages for free concert tickets? She gave her first backstage massage to the band members of Def Leppard, and since then she has been to over 3,000 concerts for free.
Number 7.
Imagine having to have balloons implanted in your face to save your life. That's the reality for Jennifer Hiles, who suffers from a rare and potentially deadly condition called arterial venous malformation, or AVM. AVM is abnormal tangles of blood vessels preventing blood flow to some of the body's tissues. Without regular oxygen-rich blood flow, the tissue can become damaged, causing cells to die. The condition can also lead to weakened blood vessels, which eventually burst with potentially fatal consequences. It's not only physically painful, but has also been emotionally painful for Jennifer, as she says, "I just want to be able to spend all of my time with my kids without people looking at me and calling me names." It's no wonder Jennifer and her family are looking forward to an upcoming surgery they hope will mean the removal of all the AVM. However, in order to prepare for the surgery, Jennifer has had to have saline implants put in her face to stretch the skin out and give doctors extra skin to work with after removing the AVM-affected skin. Each week, the balloons are filled with more saline for up to 8 weeks prior to surgery, a process Jennifer says is painful but is hoping will pay off in the long run.
Number 6.
Ukrainian model Valeria Lukyanova, who is better known as the Human Barbie, has made a name for herself by not only attempting to look exactly like a Barbie, but also by her controversial beliefs and lifestyle. Among her controversial statements was one about race mixing leading to a degeneration of beauty. While she admits to having breast implants, she says that the rest of her look is from working out 4 to 6 hours a day, makeup which takes about another hour, and a raw vegetarian diet. Besides being a model, she's also a DJ and teaches seminars on how to travel out of body in a process called the phase. In 2015, she released her music single, Jack Your Barbie. In 2016, she made her film debut starring in a horror movie called The Doll, in which she plays a doll-like escort who kills. When asked if she'll have kids someday, she said she'd rather die from torture.
Number 5.
Former model Lisa Brown never had to worry about her weight until age 28, when she suddenly couldn't stop losing it. Shortly after her wedding, the blonde beauty, who once weighed 140 pounds, started noticing she was becoming fuller faster than usual every time she ate. When she noticed her clothes getting looser and her wedding ring sliding off her finger, she decided to weigh herself and was shocked by the 112 pounds that appeared on the scale. In an interview with People, Brown said, "It was like my ability to eat quantities had shrunk and shrunk until eventually I couldn't eat anything." After years of suffering and constant doctor visits, a frail Brown weighing just 84 pounds at 5 foot 10 inches tall was diagnosed with both superior mesenteric artery syndrome, a rare disorder of the digestive system in which a compressed portion of the small intestine obstructs food from passing through, and gastroparesis, which prevents her stomach muscles from moving properly. Since the diagnosis, Brown says she still suffers pain from both conditions, but has managed to gain weight, now weighing 94 pounds, and was able to get a reducinostomy feeding tube that has given her more freedom of mobility.
Number 4.
Could you imagine being 20 years old and being stuck in the body of a toddler? That is the reality for Girija Srinivas, whose rare medical condition, congenital agenesis, prevented her limbs from developing fully. The condition, which has kept her looking like a 2-year-old at 2.5 feet tall and weighing 26 pounds, makes her completely dependent on her parents' everyday care. Despite not being able to do something as basic as sit up as she could fracture a bone, as well as other everyday tasks we take for granted such as feeding herself, Girija says she doesn't want people pitying her. Girija says one thing she can do without any help is her art, and if she's going to be recognized for anything, she wants it to be her talent, not her medical condition. She sells about 5 to 6 paintings a month, making $128 to $160 a month.
Number 3.
Model Kelly Lee DeKay says she's trained her body for 7 years with a steel-boned, tight-laced corset to achieve her 16-inch waistline and the sought-after hourglass figure. Inspired by her favorite comic book characters, the New York woman says, "Growing up, I just loved the exaggeration of styles and the beautiful costumes that comic book characters would wear, and that led to the aesthetic that led to tight lacing." Despite the corset being very restrictive, making climbing stairs or lifting heavy objects difficult, and despite having to deal with negative comments online, Kelly has no plans to stop her extreme body modification. She says she loves modification, and as for people's reactions, I get mixed reactions. Some people really love it, some people really hate it, but I always did it for myself. I didn't really do it for people's reactions.
Number 2.
For most people, going blind is one of their worst fears, but for Amber, aka Jewel Shuping, it was her lifelong dream. The 30-year-old North Carolina woman, who has wanted to be blind since she was a child, started pretending to be blind when she was a teenager, wearing thick black sunglasses and getting her first white cane at age 18. By age 20, she taught herself Braille, and by age 23, she was tired of pretending and found a psychologist online who was willing to help her achieve her goal. According to an interview she did with Dr. Phil, she decided to use drain cleaner because it was easy to get. She told Dr. Phil that she spent 2 weeks living with the psychologist and blind simming, pretending to be blind, before he advised her she was ready. She used a syringe to drop drain cleaner in her eyes. Shuping states that even though she was screaming in pain, the numbing drops she had purchased in Canada having little to no effect, all I could think was, yes, this is going to work. I'm going to be blind. Despite having been disowned by her family and shunned by the blind community she had desperately wanted to be part of, Shuping says she has no regrets and is now happy that she is blind, stating, "I really feel this is the way I was supposed to be born and that I should have been blind from birth." Shuping has been diagnosed with body integrity disorder, which is when a person's idea of how they should be or look doesn't match their actual physical state. And now for the number 1 unbelievable woman, but first, I want to give a shout out to those who answered my last video's question. Question, do you think the psychologist should have helped Amber go blind since it's what she wanted? Why or why not?
Number 1.
A 24-year-old Russian powerlifter, Natalia Trakina, set a world record in Crimea in 2014 when she successfully completed a deadlift of 529 pounds and bench pressed 375 pounds. The married, extremely buff record holder first started lifting at the young age of 14, and by age 16 was already a professional weightlifter. Apparently a natural, the 202-pound Natalia said, "Just a few months after I started exercising, I performed at a regional competition, and I liked it very much."